Martin Bashir arrived to film Michael and his children, Bashir was immediately confronted with one of the major worries of celebrity parents, the horrible danger of kidnapping. Consequently, as a security measure, public appearances by Michael's children required that their faces be hidden behind masks or veils.
Because you don't let anybody see the children.
I don't want a Lindbergh baby. Somebody took Lindbergh's baby, Charles Lindbergh's baby, took him in the forest and burned him to death. Okay, so I don't want that to happen to my children.
Bashir's repeated questioning fails to establish one important fact: whose idea it was to wear them.
I obviously have some influence, as their faces are still covered. That was my request, not his. Michael's very proud of his children. I'm the one who's terrified. I'm the one who's seen the notes that someone's going to take his children. They're not. They're not. Whatever can be done, they're not. There's nothing more terrifying than looking at a piece of paper that says, I'm taking them. And I said, you know what? I wore a scarf, no big deal. Pretend it's Halloween.
I don't want people seeing them, because the press they can be very mean. I don't want them to grow up psychologically crazy because of the evil things they can say to them. I want them to be normal. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
It does. It does.
And I'm sure at some point he will say, you know, to the children, do you want to wear the scarf? I will have immediate heart failure, you know, but, you know, he's not going to make his children do something they don't want to do. He's not that kind of a parent. Not at all. And I truly don't see why everybody focuses on that. I mean, it is a fashion statement. Are the scarves not matching? You know, we'll work on it.
While some people may have a hard time with the intense security measures Michael and his family have to follow, there was one particular occurrence in Germany that had many people questioning his children's safety.
Take, for example, what happened in Germany, where there was a huge outcry.
Yeah.
And you suffered a great deal of negative comment in the press.
Yeah.
Was there no one in your group who said, Michael, even though you're not going to damage your child, and you would never harm your child, but Michael, if you dangle blanket over a balcony, you are going to be severely criticised?
No, because...
Was there no one in the room who would say, Michael, don't do it?
My governesses were up there.
And they didn't say no?
No, because I was holding that baby strong, hard, tight.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying, though.
You know, and I know better. And I've seen...
You know better.
People that flip their kids up in the air and do somersaults and catch them. And, you know, I get caught up in the moment. It's holding on tight. Just let them give a wave. And, but, and it happens for like 2 seconds. But when it gets on the news, they slow it down. They don't show the crowd. It makes me look like I'm just a eccentric idiot dangling his baby over a balcony like a nut.
I think the media took it and ran, like they do everything else.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, he's not dropping the baby, please. Please. They blew it up into something it's not.
That
we know about
so misunderstood.
Explain it. What don't we know about it? What should we know about him we don't know?
All right, I'll tell you from the very beginning.
Good.
He had such a grip on that child. And if you look at it again, he's got that child so tightly held under the armpits.
You're showing it now. Yeah, he is got it pretty tight under his arm.
Governance was up there, security was up there, other people. I took my other children up there and did the same thing.
Like I said before, he's very proud of his children, you know? And to listen to his fans all night long, they're so adoring and so loving and loyal. and they'll be there all night. And they wanted to see the little one, and he showed them the little one. Nothing inappropriate. May not have been the best thing he's ever done in his life, but certainly I think it was made too big a deal of.
Even now you're happy that you dangled him over the...
Not happy that I dangled him over the balcony, no.
You're not happy
that I let the kids give a wave to him.
In spite of his admission that he was not happy about the incident, it still did not seem as troubling to Michael as it did to people around the world. A point Martin Bashir made both in his TV special and in his comments on Primetime Thursday after the show aired.
He said that they are restricted, they are overly protected. I was angry at the way his children were made to suffer.
What he said about Michael's parenting skills in the footage that was not aired appears to paint an extremely different picture. And we must stress, what you're about to see and hear happened during Bashir's final interview with Michael, long after the incident with the baby on the Berlin hotel balcony.
One of the things that I noticed about you over the last year is your relationship with your children. And I have to say to you, and I didn't know you before, and you haven't put on a front, your relationship with your children is spectacular.
I love them.
And in fact, it almost makes me weep when I see you with them, because your interaction with them is just so natural, so loving, so caring.
Thank you so much.
And everybody who ever comes into contact with you knows that.
I'm crazy. I would die for them. I mean, I'm crazy about them. And I tell them. I look into their eyes every day. I make sure I do it. I say, look at me. I say, I love you very much. In the eyes.
What they actually say to you is they love you and you say, I love you more. That's what you say every single time.
Say that, right?
That's your phrase, and I've heard it. I've heard it once. I've heard it a million times.
Yeah, and they say such sweet things sometimes. Like, and I didn't tell them to say it. They say it all the time. Like Prince will come to me and say, Daddy, thank you for giving me a brother. All the time. You know, parents will say that too. Thank you for giving us a brother. You know, and I would like to have more children.
You know what? If he called me tonight and said, let's have 5 more, in a heartbeat.
You would do it again
in a heartbeat.
If he asked you. But...
In a heartbeat.
Now, what could have persuaded one of the world's most reclusive superstars to grant an interviewer and a camera crew entrance into his life? Now, according to Jackson, it was to answer many of the important questions that tabloids and fans have been speculating about for years. As you've seen, not all of those important answers made it on the air. And as for the not-so-earth-shaking ones, well, they were edited out too, like the whereabouts of Mr. Jackson's former constant companion.
Where is Bubbles now?
Bubbles is, he's with a caretaker with like 40 to 50 other chimps, because chimps, they get to an age like teenage kids do, where they want to challenge their parents. Like if your father tell you to do something, you go, why? Why do I have to do it, Dad? And chimps are very much like that too. They'll challenge you, and it can become dangerous in a way, you know. And if they get angry with you and decide to take you on, it's no match. I mean, they're very, very strong. If they can take your finger off, they're very powerful.
But while Bubbles was living at Neverland, Bubbles, the other animals, and Michael were virtually inseparable.
Many people made fun of me with my animals, you know. If I come home from a hard day at the studio and I come home to my deer or my chimps, and I can hug them and they don't ask you anything, they don't complain, you know, they don't gossip. They just want a hug and some love and get on with it. You know, where's the pizza? Whip out the ice cream. Because the chimps, they love snacks. And, you know, they run around and they help me clean the room and they help me fix up things, you know, and their DNA is literally identical to ours if you look in the microscope. And they're amazing.
Chimps would help you clean the house.
Yeah, they help me clean up my room. They help me dust. They do the windows. They flush the toilet after they use the bathroom. And
you let the chimps use your own bathroom?
Sure, yeah, of course. Bubbles would go himself. He'd sit at the table and He picks up his spoon and his fork and he eats, and he's very polite and very intelligent.
While in Berlin with Jackson, Martin Bashir was invited to accompany Michael and his 2 children on a trip to the zoo. But because someone had evidently tipped off the press, the paparazzi were out in force, causing chaos and a potentially dangerous situation for the Jackson family.
Do you know it took us 3.5 hours to get in and out, and we spent 4 minutes in front of the gorillas? It was chaos, Michael.
Yeah, it was chaos. You filmed it, right?
Yeah. I was in the middle of it. Our cameraman fell over.
Yeah.
And at one point, Prince got hurt by someone's umbrella.
Yeah.
Do you really think it was worth the pain of 3.5 hours for 4 minutes in front of the gorillas?
Well, I'm not a foreseer of events. I'm not a soothsayer or a prophet of any kind, but I didn't know that was going to happen like that.
As you've seen and heard from Michael's behind-the-scenes camera of Bashir's interview, Bashir seems to express a genuine concern for the welfare of Michael's children and raises the question as to Michael's apparent lapse of parental judgment.
Bashir comments, "It was no kind of trip for 2 young children, and everyone could see it, but Jackson himself."
But what Bashir doesn't include is Michael's explanation that Michael was informed that the zoo would be closed during his visit.
I go to the zoo all the time. I go usually when they close it down. And they told us this would be closed down, and they didn't. They left the gates open, and fans and people started pouring in.
Well, in fact, what the owner said, because I was there, he actually said that his view was, at the end of the normal opening hours, he would have closed the zoo and then just opened it for you and your family. But you decided not to go then. You wanted to go in the day rather than...
It's not true.
Is that not true?
It's not true.
That was what he said.
I wouldn't want to go in the day, especially if I have a problem with the sun.
Well, it was winter in Germany, so it wasn't
nighttime would have been much cooler.
Yeah. But wouldn't it have been better to have gone at night?
Yeah.
So why didn't you?
I never knew that was the proposal. I thought we had a slot and that was it.
This was like just a misunderstanding from the zoo part and, you know, Michael's people, and they thought the zoo was going to be closed, but it wasn't. But that whole thing was not a big deal. I mean, he goes through that all the time.
Coming up, Michael's video cameras capture a very revealing moment.
So they're so quick to call you strange and weird. It's almost as if you're forced to be different.
Michael's father reacts to Bashir's special.
Well, one of the things I can see this man tried to do, he tried to pin something on me where I was real brutal.
What caused the surgery the other special didn't tell you about?
He was so badly burnt on the top of, the whole top of his head caught fire right in front of my eyes.
All when we return to the Michael Jackson interview, the footage you were never meant to see.